So if you're anything like me and you're between the ages of mid-30s, 40s even, and you're feeling extremely exhausted, burnt out, you don't know yourself anymore, you just don't know what's going on with your body, you just don't recognize who you are when you look in the mirror, then stay tuned, because that's exactly how I was. And believe me, ladies, you're not on your own. Okay. So thank you for being here. I created this channel, Freedom Over 40, for many reasons. One, menopause. Two, I'm going through what you're feeling and experiencing. I know exactly where you're coming from. I feel there's a community of us women out there that are younger, going through peri and menopausal symptoms, and there isn't enough out there for us. And so I wanted to create a movement where I wanted us like-minded ladies to get together, and also, men, if you've got partners, wives, sisters, work colleagues, whatever, and you're also interested and wanting to know more about what it's like for us women going through the perimenopausal and menopausal stage, then please, you're welcome to be here. I want this to be a safe space for everybody. I want this to talk about mental health, clearly about hormonal changes and issues in our bodies and things, but also just to highlight why I've decided to take back control as much as I can with my life, even if the control isn't where I really want it to be, which is when it comes to my, my mood swings, my hot flushes, the hair loss. I've had to cut my hair into a bob now because my hair was just literally falling out and shedding, and it was just getting ridiculous. So, I've had to adapt in so many ways. So I want you to know, ladies, you're not on your own. You're not cracking up, okay? This is, unfortunately, is a stage in our life that we go through. It's a stage that we don't get educated on when we're younger. And unfortunately, a lot of the medical terminology at the moment is still quite out of date. It's not a case of you're in your 50s before this happens. It is actually when you're in your 30s and 40s that you're actually starting to see changes in your body. And unfortunately, we're in that situation now where we need more information and we need more support. We need to be taken seriously. And I was somebody that wasn't taken seriously by my GP. Even though I hadn't had a period for 2 years, I was still told at the age of 42, sorry, that I was not going through menopause. I couldn't be, I was too young. Well, actually, I was going through menopause. That was later found out when I went to see the consultant after lots of conversations and lots of nagging at my GP that I need to see someone. So like I say again, ladies, you're not on your own, okay? We're certainly going through it. You're not losing your mind, although yes, we do feel like we are, because we can no longer retain information, we can no longer remember what we're doing. That brain fog, that forever cycle and hamster wheel of just, going through the motions. 1 minute you're okay, next minute you feel like you want to cry, next minute you feel anger, and you don't know where all this is coming from, because it's not you. And that's why you don't feel like you recognize yourself anymore. So here I am, as I say, doing this little video, and I just want to reach out to you all and say, look, please, 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 just let's create this movement. Let's support one another. Like I say, we're all going through this at different stages of our lives, different ages. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone, and there are some women out there that don't get any symptoms really, or they don't really notice much because it's quite limited or quite minimal, sorry, in terms of the symptoms that they feel or go through. And I have actually spoken to a couple of mature ladies that it didn't really affect them at all. And unfortunately, I seem to be making up for it for them, My mother finds it shocking that I'm in this stage, but I am, and it is what it is. And it's not down to your family necessarily. Like my mother didn't go through menopausal symptoms until she was very late 40s into her 50s. Now, just because she went through it later at the more acceptable stage that people talk about, doesn't mean it won't happen to you when you're younger, just because, you're the daughter and things. Equally, my sister, one of my sisters now, she's had to go and change GP surgeries because her first GP surgery, the male doctor, would not listen to my sister. After going there and asking for a second opinion, he actually told her to leave. And that's disgusting. You know your own body, you're not losing the plot. She went to another doctor's, registered with them, and they went through everything with her, did the test, and she was perimenopause and was put on HRT. So that in itself, guys, is just showing how we're still living in this what feels like a prehistoric time when it comes to medical knowledge about us women and what we're going through. So I really feel passionate that, you know, we really need to voice ourselves. We need to stand up and we need to come together and support one another, because it affects you in so many ways. And mental health, guys, is a massive one. You know, like I say, you know, not being able to cope with memory and everything else, you know, it gets to the stage where you just feel like no one understands, or you're just stuck in this loophole where, you know, people assume you're too young. People assume, oh, it can't be perimenopause. You must be just stressed. Well, stress is a form of mental health anyway, for a start. But the fact that it's continuous and it's happening over a long period of time, that's so draining and exhausting in itself. And that's without the actual exhaustion. That's without the fact that you can't sleep properly anymore, that you're having, you know, sweats and all sorts of things that are happening. And that, you know, during the day, you struggle to remember the simplest things. I could go on and on and on, but I just want to reach out to you all, to you women that are going through it like me, and just know you're not on your own, guys, like I say. But please seek medical advice. Please reach out. There are things online that are starting to come through, that we can search and look up. I don't know where you are in the world, but wherever you are, please tell me where you are watching. I'd love to know where you are. That would be great. And of course, let's stick together and let's build this community and support one another and be kind. So I hope this resonates with you all, and it makes sense, guys. And if you are interested also in looking to do something different with your life, and you're thinking about doing something online, then I do have an opportunity as well in the travel world, with an online business opportunity if you're interested. But thank you very much for your time, guys. Take care, stay blessed until the next time. See you soon.